So it's been a while since I've done one of these videos. In fact, it's been, oh gosh, at least 6 months since I've done one of these videos. And for good reason, because I'm not studying for the bar exam right now. And that's because I passed. In case you didn't get caught up on all the videos or haven't watched all of them, yes, I did pass the bar exam. And I know that the people who are studying for the February exam, you guys are in your last month of studying before it comes down to that hour of walking in and taking the bar. And whether it's your first time or your 5th time, just know that I passed it on my 3rd try. And frankly, if I can pass it, if I can get this nifty wall certificate, I don't know if you can see it, that says that I am licensed to practice law in the state of Colorado, you can too for your state. And so I wanted to do sort of a post bar exam, how I passed. Here are the things that I did that allowed me to pass the bar exam. And one of the big reasons why I say allow instead of achieve or any of those things is that the possibility for that achievement has always been there for me. It has always been a part of who I am, but I never allowed myself to see it. And I think that's a really big distinction, is that you've gotten through law school, you've gotten through, frankly, one of the hardest things that you need to go through. And the bar exam itself is hard. It is, the biggest initiation hazing that we can possibly do as a profession. But you got through it, and this is remarkable that you've gotten this far. So remember that. Now, one of the first things that I did, that I wrote every single day, and I put at the top of my computer, I put it in a little sticky note at the top of my computer, was, it's okay to be wrong. I know that those words, like the word wrong, is going to grate on your nerves, but it's okay to be wrong. And in fact, you should be wrong. You should be getting wrong answers. And I know a month ahead of time, yes, you're going to want to see more and more right answers than wrong answers, and that's great. But also remember that, especially if you're going through the Barbary program, the questions are going to get harder as you go. And so you're not going to see as many right answers. But, the fact is that you're practicing. You're recognizing how to notice these questions, how to analyze these types of questions, and how to pay attention to how things are worded and things like that. And so, yeah, you're going to be wrong a lot of the time because you're still trying to figure that out. And one of the best pieces of advice that someone gave me was, remember that bar exam law is not real law. Yeah, it's based on real law, but probably the most strict interpretation of real law that you can ever find, that you may not find in a judge's ruling, or you may not find when you talk to your colleagues about how to approach a case. And if you have had the benefit of working in a law office or working with real law and therefore real people, the bar exam is going to be that much harder for you because you're not approaching it from the strict analytical viewpoint. You're approaching it from the fact that it is a dynamic piece of a force of nature that changes and shifts as we do with time and depending on circumstances and facts and everything else. And so you are going to be facing some of the more difficult questions because you do have to set that part of yourself aside. Now, if the bar exam were about testing the human side of ourselves, then I would have passed the first time out because that is primarily where I live in my life. So that's one of the things that I want you to also remember, is that it's not, if you've had the experience of dealing with real law, it is going to be a little bit more difficult for you to wrap your head around this sort of closed universe of the bar exam that isn't not quite as closed as it sounds. So with that in mind, here are some specific strategies that I used. I did at least 25 questions, multiple choice questions every single day. I didn't always do full-time tests. I did at least, I think, 3 or 4, like full on, at least half day, if not full day tests of multiple choice. And I was always discouraged every single time. I will tell you right now, if you are getting in the 65% range, in the 60% range, you're doing fine. From everything that I know about myself, occasionally I would dip below the 54% mark and I would get really worried. But again, the questions are harder. You don't know whether you're getting a hard question or an easy question. And part of the trickery is that the easy questions look like hard questions and the hard questions sometimes look like easy questions, just to mess you up a little bit. But just continue doing the questions every single day and go through, and at least for the questions that you've gotten wrong, go through and look at what tripped you up. I mean, was it a wording thing? Was it I don't understand this part of the law thing? And it's okay if you don't understand that part of the law. For example, there's a lot of the mortgage questions that I kept getting wrong because I went to law school so long ago that I don't even remember my property class. I hated my property class, and I suspect I actually did okay on the property section. But again, you want to go through and do some of that quality feedback with those questions, at least the ones you got wrong. And every now and then I would throw in the ones that I got right too, especially ones that kind of surprised me that I got it right, because I want to know why I got it right. And that's just as valuable as well. I know people suggest that you do 2 to 3 essays every day. I did not do that. I ended up doing maybe 2 to 3 essays every 2 or 3 days. So it equaled out to about an essay a day, which was okay because, again, I was doing a lot of that quality feedback with the essays. If you have the advantage of having a bar prep program or some sort of support at your school that can read through essays for you and give you feedback, take it. Do it. One of the biggest things that I found out through that is that I was blowing through identifying the issue. I wasn't spending, quality space on my essay with identifying the issue. I could identify the rule, and then my analysis was huge. It was always huge. And sometimes you just need to, staccato, just hit it. Make sure all 4 things in IRAC are hit. Make sure you actually state your conclusion. Have an opinion. Have an opinion that supports, what your analysis came to. Even if you personally don't feel that that's necessarily the right answer, at least state an opinion, because sometimes you do get points just for stating an opinion, and that is okay. Any way that you can get more points on the essays, the better, because that can help you no matter what. And then I also do quality PTs. I did not do as many PTs as I had wanted to, but I ended up doing probably about 1 or 2 a week, just because it is such a big chunk of time and it is such a big chunk of law. That I found I would sometimes get myself confused by what I read in my PT question and then start answering my multiple choice questions the way that it was presented in the PTs, which is not, PTs are definitely a closed universe sort of thing, so you don't want to get those 2 confused. But again, that same kind of quality feedback, I found out I was spending so much time, again, on the analysis, and I wasn't doing enough time really referencing what was in the cases themselves and the issues that the client had presented in the PTs. And so again, having a sit down talk with somebody about my PTs and where I was going wrong was super helpful. So that brings me to the next point, which is get support. You want to have someone who you know is in your corner, preferably someone in the legal profession, someone from the law school, someone who's not taking the bar exam right now. Because if you're going to lean on your fellow bar examinees for support, good luck with that. Because everyone is in their zone. And as much as we want to be there for our friends and we want them to be there for us, if we're in that same bar exam zone, all of us are freaking out and all of us are dealing with it in our own magnificently dysfunctional ways. So get support that is not a bar examinee. Someone at the, like I said, at the law school, someone who knows the legal profession enough to know what's going on with that. Next is don't compare yourself to other people. Again, even if you're getting support from other friends, each person has their own struggle. My struggle was with essays and PTs. I was actually doing okay with multiple choice, but then I would look as we're scoring it to the side and I would see, oh, that person got 70%. Oh, and I would get so mad at myself, and I had to stop doing that. That was the biggest thing that I had to do, is I had to stop comparing myself to other people, because only I had the circumstances that I had. Only I was a graduate of the year that I was and had gone to, you know, this horrible property class with classmates who are all attorneys now. So I needed to distinguish that and make it my journey and not constantly comparing myself to others, which I know is hard because we have constantly been ranked between our classmates going through law school. There's no ranking on this. There's no gold star for getting the best grade on the bar exam. So let go of comparisons, because that's going to help you in the long run. Sleep, food, exercise, fun. I really didn't do as well on these, and that's why I say you really should do them. I think I was having a lot of trouble sleeping. So make sure you get support and help for that. If you have a spouse, if you have someone who lives with you, just make sure that you set yourself up for success in that way. One of the things that I did that was actually really helpful to me was actually planning what my friends called a pre-victory party. And it was a big barbecue that we had, a brunch, whatever, before you hit that 2-week mark for the real huge crunch memorization time. I suggest just taking half a day to sit with your friends or family and celebrate the fact that you've gotten this far without killing anybody. That's probably a really good thing, and a chance for you to let go, because you have to let go in order to be able to let all that information come into your head. You are holding so much information into your head, and if you let go and have a little bit of fun and relax a little bit, it's all going to start making the connections that it needs to make, and especially important for that memorization period. Use your tools. There's so many tools out there. Few of the ones that I used was Bar Exam Mind. I referenced that quite a bit, as well as Bar Exam Toolbox. There's so many places that have really good websites, videos like this. There's plenty of other people who have done videos like this. So use your tools. Let that be your guide, and let that be part of your support system. You want to make sure that that support system is really well founded. And there are two other things. First is tell yourself each and every day, and during every moment of doubt, that you will pass, and that you can do this, that you are smart enough, that you are bright enough, that you know the law, you know what you're doing, and you're just trying to pass this stupid test. And it's not a matter of self-esteem whether or not you pass. You know, let me take that back. Yes, it is a matter of self-esteem, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have, you know, your whole life doesn't have to revolve around the bar exam, and that you are smart enough to do this. And the moment you start doubting yourself is the moment that you start making that the reality that you're going to experience. And I know that the more I operated out of fear, the worse I felt. The more that I let myself be wrong, the more that I told myself, you know what, you have all the skills that you need to do this. You just need to make sure that you stay positive enough to be able to use them. Because if you're negative, then you're going to assume that everything you do is going to be wrong. And then, you know, guess what? Self-fulfilling prophecy, friends. So tell yourself each and every day that you're going to do it. And then I found also a really useful tool was what are called affirmations, not affirmations. So you write a question at the top of your page, like, why did I do so well in the bar exam? This is the one I did. Why did I do so well on the bar exam? You want to say it as a why, like, you know, as if someone's coming up to you and interviewing you later. Why did you do so well on the bar exam? And then you write because and I'll read a couple of mine. I stopped talking about the bar exam so negatively. I didn't take my mistakes so personally. I kept going even through difficult times. I minimized outside stresses and distractions. I was confident that I know the law and how to apply it. I didn't allow others to dictate what success means or how I should study. I reminded myself that perfection wasn't necessary. I told the truth on my application and trusted in my value. That was actually a big worry for me. I didn't do what everyone else was doing. I did it my way. I took time to figure out what was best for me. These are all things. And then later on, about a month ago, I went through and I checked off like how many of these actually did contribute. And each and every single one of them did contribute to me passing the bar exam. I'm so confident about that. And I'm so confident that you are going to be able to pass as well. Support your friends, support your family, support yourself, and set yourself up for success. Oh, and last thing, when you show up for the bar exam, do not bring any notes with you. In fact, from 6 o'clock on, the day before the bar exam, do not study. You know, you might want to bring one outline that has been causing you problems or whatnot the morning of the bar exam to look over in your car for 15 minutes tops. Nothing more than that. You do not want to be cramming. This is not a test that you cram for. This is a marathon. So there's no sprinting to the finish line. This is about working through it, pacing yourself out, and trusting yourself. So if you are cramming right before the bar exam, like the hours before the bar exam, then you don't trust yourself. Trust yourself enough to know that you can do this. And frankly, I had to stop studying 5 days before the bar exam because of some family trouble. So that was probably the best thing for me. It got my mind off the bar exam, and then suddenly everything connected and everything worked out and meshed. So take that for what that is. That I had to lean on my own knowledge, and I had to trust myself that, you know what, I'm doing the right thing and I know what I'm doing. And even if I get a few wrong, who cares? It's not like I'm going to be judged for getting 85 questions right instead of, 88 questions right. It doesn't matter. No one's going to know. So trust yourself, believe in yourself, and stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Those are the biggest ones that I have for you. Good luck on the bar exam. Thank you so much for supporting me through this process, and I will continue to support you as best I can. If you have suggestions for any videos that you would like me to do, or talk about a little bit more and flesh out a little bit more, I'm very happy to do it. So just leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much. Good luck.